Welcome to the Muse on Main. I'm Dylan, one of the owners of this place. Appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Hopefully we can get more people here still tonight. Sorry it's so chilly in here. We are still don't have heat at this point, but it's a work in progress. So I've been writing poetry for a long time, but I've actually never read it in front of people, so I'm a little nervous, but I think all of you are pretty friendly and won't throw stones, so I'll give it a shot. Okay. This one's titled Dreams to Nightmares. Darkness dulls the hated gray, sunlight rays begin to play. Shadowed words we crave to say, silence drapes the window today. Contented dreams on constant repeat, contempt for waking up from sleep. Cycles control a universe so deep, silence aboard soon turns to weep. On this day I'll hold a mother's head, whose only son was once my own friend. Only lonely ones who understand, only lonely ones would hold my hand. This modest glass that touched his lips rests in peace within my grip. Memories mourn this one-way trip. Feelings torn, I'll sip and sip and sip. This one's called It's Been 364 Days. I walk the coast through ocean's waves, talk to ghosts in a dreamy haze. I kissed the redwoods and made them sway, and I wrote the songs I wished I'd play. I watched puppies reach in ripe old age. I laid countless pics on shadowed graves. Scavenged through those treasured crates, fished lakes and streams with golden baits. I took the pipe of a poisoned fate, and I smoked the barrel of a Chrome 38. Respect to the time that was once great, mark 365 days from the calendar I hate. But against the odds, I'm here to say, I watched as worlds have burned away. I've made angels curse and demons pray, search for words that I wish I'd say. This one's just called July 31st. The sun in the sky wears a mask of clouds. The raindrops cry as the lover frowns. The smile sits silent on a bed of nails, quietly defiant on a sea it sails. The bondage of Muse, bound by the dream, is locked in the corner, unable to scream. And his pain takes its perch on the head of a dove, and the raindrops cry from the mask above. I think I'll do one more here. It's called November 12th. In your eye, one look to your eyes, the light that shines in you now shines in me. Laughing at the sun, once I thought was gone, tears that run from fun, wash the fears from me as I wipe the tears from you. Happy for this day, all the prayers we prayed. Hope you listen as I say, the light that shines in me was lit by you. Man in the moon, so brave, skipping along the waves, singing with the stars and dancing in the caves. A rocket ship I built for two, so I could take you to the moon. To dance and sing among the stars, to spin the world with my guitar. To watch the sunset and rise, across the earth 1,000 times. And if the moon is too cold and gray, we'll climb back in and fly away. Right. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Next, we got Emma.
Emma! Woo!
Thank you again.
I got 4 bombs. Can you hear me okay? Is this too loud? This is called I Steal My Father's Mug Collection Instead of Telling Him I Love Him. My father used to be my age. I know this is true for some universe somewhere. There he is still satin and radiant, cryogenically frozen on a red vinyl couch with a blind beagle he named Argo during an LSD-fueled hallucination. My father was not the one to name me, though. I was named by a woman and carried by a woman too, bloodied and battered, but it was not my mother's face sprouting up from my skin when I lifted myself into existence. I came red and angry, permanently pigmented for the first 3 months of life from microwave radiation and the suffocating water weight of birth. I was wrapped in wool blankets in the sweltering heat of August, burned through open living room windows, almost killed by a bout of thrush. My teeth all grew in on the same terrible night, grounding in a mouth that couldn't speak its own name. I bled, oh how I bled. A red mouth, a red air, a red herring. This is called What If My Parents Don't Like Me as Much as My Sisters? The statistical probability of a giant space rock surviving the red-hot atmosphere only to crash into the exact speck of Earth on which I stand is so incredibly low that it should be considered a heavenly blessing if it happens at all. My mother says she would do anything for me. I wonder if she would lasso an asteroid and bring it barreling into my head if I said that an asteroid is what I wanted. I suspect that anything is a promise with conditions. Instead, I will learn to balance rocks atop the gray matter of my brain. I will train the city pigeons to nest inside my hair and germinate delicate seeds under the thin skin of my scalp. I will watch the asteroids burn up in the atmosphere, and I will accept them as the maternal consecration that they are. Okay. This is called I Was Brought to This World by a Dead Womb and a Dying Bird. Biologists at Zion National Park have confirmed the existence of a California condor nest high on the cliffs of Angel's Landing. Perched on a ledge, there's only one tiny chick, not the lone survivor of a tragic kidnapping or the symbol of impotent love, but one single baby, because carrion birds, like me, only incubate one soul at a time. I stood on that cliff face only once in my life, soft-bellied and young myself. This was before those hikers fell off and were found in Refrigerator Canyon. Bluehead trauma and 200 snapped bones made the sheriff drop dead on sight. I remember those faces put in print 2 days later, one daughter half my age for the day and her wide-mouthed smiling mother. Those condors weren't there for that mess. We cleaned it all up ourselves with 2 red quivering hands. It's true when the park rangers tell you that condors almost went extinct. Lead bullets and cold feet stopped those birds and breed. Cracked open into the canyon, the eggs cooked hot and heavy in the western sun and slowly dissolved into sand. See this chick now, a miracle baby, alive and open-throated. When he leaps off the cliff, it will all be on the instinct of 9-foot hollowed-out wings. He will find the Gulf Stream 3 miles above Earth, the red wasteland turning dark with his shadow. He will roost in the canyon to avoid the harsh sun on days when the river is low. He will lift his head from his kill to stare down the gullet of God's own seraphs. That ancient desert, those fossilized guts. Look at that polished sheen. This is my last one. It's called My Primordial Stem Cells Revolt. A single baby boy, miscarried by my mother, and a family of all women. The husbands are fixtures for producing more of us. A single baby boy, miscarried by my mother, and a single baby girl, born to my sister, from a man of a family of boys. She carries the father's name, the father's cheeks, the mother all of her, and the single baby boy, miscarried. There is no grave, there is only us, the mothers, the daughters, the sweet baby girls.
All right, thank you, Emma. We got Josh in here. Come on up, Josh.
I've got 2 poems today. This one's called Hide Your Tattoos. A plane lands and the words are spoken twice over. Your brain can't process one, it's simply sound. The other, you don't care to listen. Now a game of hide and seek. Today was yesterday, this is not repeat. This isn't your hometown, hopefully it never will be. The eyes in the city follow you, 2 eyes, nothing more. The truth is behind masks here. Each moment is met with confusion. Another reason to suggest the painful reality of your existence here. As you're winding back in the typical drunken dance, the glow of characters illuminate the skyline to guide your way home. Wi-Fi can't help you now. What is a phone? Lost to the passages within these paper walls, try not to treasure each touch. Take each moment to heart. The warm water to share, the cold to calm, and the hot to hurt. The touch of each body is pressed for time. The wise Sachiko song for you to guide. The unexpected event and the existential exit. And this next one is called titled Lilith. Crude bridges over creeks as a means of safe passage and dry socks. One human being stares at the stars of a November's night. Limbs pretzeled under an oversized hoodie, a human tent, soaking tent. Carved into this bridge is an image of an angel, fated by nature and time, rotting into this wooden flesh. This human being found a memory here, as anyone can if they just follow the stars to the places we used to lie.
Low tall stool. This one is called Tainted Leader. Okay. My name is Rivka. I am 14. I'm a Jew. I'm not dirty. I bathe every day. I work in my papa's store, selling pretty hats and gloves. I am not allowed to go to school anymore. My family and I used to own a big street, but closed out. And now I live in a small, cramped apartment in the ghetto. There are rats there. My sister is only 4. She's so hungry. I hate living here. Every night there are bombs, and the planes fly over our small town. I'm scared. One morning I hear glass breaking and shouts, "Our store is gone." There's fire and it's so devastating. Months pass, we are starving. There's a knock on the door. There are 2 young soldiers with guns. In a flash, they tell us to leave. They force us out into the street in the pouring rain. Our neighbors are with us, some still in their pajamas. They separate us women from the men. My sister is crying. She won't let go of Dad's arms. Stopped her fire. She's dead. My dad doesn't cry. He just gets into the truck with the other men. That's the last I saw him. They take us ladies to a place called Forstenburg. The questions were asked, no food is handed out. When we got there, they shaved our heads. They tell us we had to work night and day, selling coal. 2 years passed. My brother was gassed. I'm buried alive. When I was little, I used to go to the theater a lot with my friends. I used to watch newsreels. I saw Hitler. I used to like him. My friends were in the youth corps. I wanted to join them as soon as I turned 12. But I didn't know that I'd be disqualified because of my last name. Now I sit in the gravel as my hope unravels. Then the sun rises. I hear shouts from the other prisoners. The war is over. The Red Cross is here. And there are soldiers who are actually our allies, who are here to help us out. One of them is from America. He tells me about his homeland. I want to go there. It feels like it might be a new start for me, setting me free and escape from my past. This one's a brand new one. It's called Turning 35. When I was young, my brother and I used to collect Pokemon cards. Now I chase them with our phones and try to not trespass on our neighbor's yards. I used to swing on swings, watch parents with babies in tow. I have none. I'm the family line to grow. Just think, I'm old enough to run for office. Be the first female president. Yet I wonder how much longer I want to be a U.S. president. My body isn't young anymore. I feel like I never am the right weight, or the right height, or the right, the right self, or the right person. Sometimes I feel like I can't even think straight. I want to go to some fancy salon, treat myself, go with my gray hairs. I want to get my head painted, maybe a facial, maybe a massage. I get discouraged, and yet I can still walk 2 miles to my store where I work. I can still dance. I can still twerk. More than enough, I have learned to love myself, seeing me as a whole person, and not caring about what anyone says. I came out to buy last year. I'm going to so high. I'm going to buy all the beach houses and swim in the ocean. I'm going to live my best life, and no one can stop me. One more. Okay. This is called money. Money. It is a stimulant. It stimulates. If it were water, we would not survive. There's simply never enough. If love and peace and happiness are priceless, then why waste money on things that don't satisfy, on things that don't survive, on shit? Why waste money on things that can't buy us love, peace, and happiness? If nourishment sustains life, the environment, then brought out can be bought or sold. Okay, just hang on a sec. If money were deeper, if money actually filled us, then we could get at a higher cost. Then I would not be lost.
Thank you, Robin. Scott, you want to come on up? Sure.
See if I can sit here without falling off this thing. I think I've got 4 that I'm going to read for you. 3 of them are first drafts, so bear with me. This one's one that I read a lot. It's called No Harvest. An Ohio blue tip is flicked to life in a field of uncut wheat, cupped by a bulging hand covered in ashen hair. It's raised to meet a lucky and a deep breath. Smoke lingers, then dives into the wrinkles brought on by 67 summers. Eyes of sapphire stare out across the field, fixed on a clump of maples near the west road. Those eyes. America's eyes. His eyes. His eyes have felt the sting of sweat and the cutting edge of the harrow's reins, as 2 nags led him across the earth. His eyes have worried through framed glass, darkness, hail dancing on the tin roof. His eyes wept under a September sun as his son's blood drained into the grass from beneath an overturned John Deere. His eyes laughed when old Roy sprouted quills from the end of his snout. His eyes questioned the skies when they brought no rain, and the dirt rose like a ghost and flew away. His eyes turned bitter when fields of towering corn were crushed beneath the pavement of a new shopping mall. His eyes choked for breath when a pink slip from the auditor shoved him into the red. His eyes trembled as a man in a gray suit beat an auction sign into the yard using his worn shovel. His eyes dimmed as friends and strangers roamed his farm looking for treasures. His eyes died as he cast away the lucky into a field of uncut wheat, turned and crept back to his home within the city limits. Thank you. All right, here's the first drafts you guys get to read again. Okay, so this one's called The Edge of Dawn. There's a fog, a morning mist that gathers in the lowlands, the pastures, and hangs in the upper branches of 100-year-old oaks. It's a blanket protecting field mice as they zig from flagstones, then zag to the farmer's barn, invisible to the owl's watchful eye. Nourishment for dry leaves reaching, for a sun not yet risen wishing, for a spring rainstorm, so that they might drink and grow. A disguise for the horses stamping on hard clay, hooves digging, pulling at nubs of grass, long chewed, hoping for a juicy morsel to start the day. Sparrows in the rafters dart in and out through missing side blinds, long and narrow, modern-day barnstormers, out into the early morning soup of white cool mist, circling on tendrils of promises of a new day, then returning, swallowed by the dark quiet of the end of night that the barn still holds. These are just printed bigs because I'm blind, so they're not really that long. To the mother on the flight to Denver. I sat beside you in silence, conversation, almost too early for reading, but I did anyway. You seemed to be uncomfortable, which also made me uneasy. Your excuse was a fresh sling screaming that a recent surgery had hit you, its whiteness not having seen travel. I read my book, you appeared to be sleeping, until I noticed the small movements of your lips, speaking silent words to yourself or your God. Were you afraid of flight and sought comfort? Were you traveling to comfort a relative and ask for strength? Deep growl of the pilot's voice filled the cabin, seatbelts and trays upright. We were approaching Denver. In my mind, my mother's face smiled, and I knew the polite thing to do. I offered to grab your bag from the overhead. You showered me in thanks, smiles, and I felt your warmth I had missed the whole trip. I asked about your arm. Your rotator cuff, you assured me, it was healing nicely, but surprisingly limited for healthy. My son had found his limiting too, especially when traveling from Japan. You asked if he was a Marine, and I saw something behind your eyes. Yes, discharged now and back in the States. You asked about his life now, where he lived, and if he was happy not being in the service. I told you about North Carolina, the place he worked, and how neither of us saw the other as much as we'd liked. Promises made for Christmas and maybe a summer trip next year. Life is good for my boy. Where's your boy now, I asked you. Where's he live? I saw the sunshine leave your smile. I saw loneliness pour into your eyes and tumble onto your cheeks. Arlington Cemetery, you answered. A gut punch that I still haven't recovered from and doubt I ever will. I stammered, apologized. You smiled, shook your head, told me about his love for the Corps and for the country. You explained that you just liked to know the sorts of things he might be doing had he not been caught in that ambush. Would he be living in North Carolina, planning trips home when work slowed? We hugged at the gate. The porter carried your bag. I turned and carried your memory through the terminal and on through the rest of my life. Thank you. This one's called Observations in the Diner. Tin bell cackles, glass on stainless steel reflecting, burgers and brown gravy. A man with leather for skin, the years carving lines in his cheeks, soaks in the smoke wafting from a menthol pinched between yellow nails. His stare drifts to the door, to me, pouring through and over me, landing on the rear end of the blonde waitress that shakes her hip as she writes a family's order of beef Manhattans on a 25-cent steno pad. Formica tabletops, the kind with gold sparkles trapped under the clear coat, held a million blue plate specials in their time, enough to go around the world if sat side by side, but still the owner scrimps to pay the light bill monthly. Faded paneling with fake wood grain winding, chipped near the floor where wax ate the glue that held the pressed fibers of Canadian birch. Horseshoe bars centered and sitting near the kitchen doorway, bathing in the steam from the fryer, while a Latino scrapes grease from the grill while dancing to mariachi tunes. Cracked vinyl stools wait for truck drivers, postmen, and mechanics, sliding in and ordering coffee while offering bad jokes and warm smiles. This place used to be everywhere, anywhere, nowhere, all at the same time. Walking in the door, gathered in the scent and sound is like coming home, whether it be Indiana or Wisconsin or on the south side of Phoenix. There's always a cook wearing a 5 o'clock shadow, growling at a waitress with a drugstore dye job, and a sweet smile owning a vocabulary consisting of hun and where you from. They're always there, across miles and pages of the calendar, serving up cold coffee and pie to ghosts in the booths that may or may not be breathing. We won't really know until they decide whether or not to head home for the evening.
Thank you, Scott. Excellent. Chris, you want to get up and read some?
It's actually way back from 1979 from my mom. All right. I'll miss the way you listen and understand, and the warm, gentle touch of my friend's hand. I'll miss the way you used to talk to me, and all the things we never got to see. I'll miss all the friendship and all the love from you, and all we've done and all we never got to do. I'll miss seeing the sun up in the sky and the way you tried to smile instead of cry. I'll miss the walks I took with you and the places we've both been to. I'll miss the things we've both been through and the sweet things you say and do. I'll miss the thing most of all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Is it Kita? K2?
Peace and respect each and every one of the poets that represent here this morning. Oh. I'm talking to myself. It's wonderful to be in the presence of poets. Poets bring the world to life. It's called Waiting on the Executioner. Waiting on the executioner, I found my face hidden among the faces of my people. Discovered my voice there where their battles cried and caught my tears. Between death row and now, I have talked with God and walked with children. Their lives sequin a dusky road with dreams unfulfilled. Blood, sea salt, cotton rolls of promises piled high. We are older now and wiser, and one-on-one at the crossroad, old age and youth. This work of freedom, hewn with calloused hands from sacred paths, runs from Goree and Elmina to Stono, Walpole, San Quentin, and Attica. This course, a watershed, Mara Oasis, Niagara, thunderhead spitting seamen at the bridge of Fornetta, straddling the bows that overlap. Each varied grain along this beach of bronzed sand is a well-worn shore, testament to a nappy resistance resurrected. Resistance, resurrection. Seed words cadencing life's fine print, rounds and hollers and circles and spiraling hoop dance, a jumping of brooms, call and response, the naked pants of dancing bodies, glimmering cultural reflection in the light of truth, pursuing freedom, living, walking. The faithful run, unseen among the dead. They cast no shadow, they see no suns, nor the sun. Time is a measured step through space, resolve peace. Dread vitiates the womb. So much seems old now and so very new. Memory and grace, pillows that bring no rest, simply bargain basement illusions hawking pain. Vital links join the eyes of me to the eye of my people. We walk this road with the Orisha, becoming their eyes, seeing that privilege and comfort do not seek. Waiting on the execution, I found my face hidden among the faces of my people. Hope's fragments. Ancient river valleys sing, igniting human spirits, stirring the river's suns to song somewhere east of Eden. Sun-baked scion of a commoner and king, running free in compliant river valleys. Struck once and bent to others' will, landlocked, chained, valued property, forced march through valley, Chesapeake, and across the rolling Piedmont. I've seen droves of Negroes brought in here on foot, going south to be sold. Each one of them had an old tow sack on his back with everything he's got in it. Over the hills they came in lines reaching as far as the eye can see. They walked in double lines chained together by tubes. They walked here to the railroad and ship them south like cattle. Here at Three Rivers, Washington's Northwest Territory, once Miami's sacred landing, where today a poet's keyboard strokes draft a respondent refrain, an eternal paean to remembering earth, ancestor birth, breath, alive, human soul resisting, ancient bodies in Nile, Euphrates, and Mississippi River valleys, prune bondage fetters, heel torn and tattered feet. Listen, hear, hear the dragging chains, hear the poets sing. I've grown up in America. So much boot in the ass, saw so many toothless grins in the dark of shadow. Those leftover pains kept dredging up sludge from river bottom, all those memories running inside out to mirror morning and liquor stench. Greasy spoon on a backwater Mississippi dirt road, neatly trimmed lawns, courthouse squares, mornings, glory. A time honored southern treasure spoken in a little rock schoolhouse door. The sputter of dying breath, burning blood, high pressure fire hoses. The gnawing bite of canine teeth in a black mother's thigh, heritage whitened and blued and served up red on clubs and truncheons. His story, upside black heads, rifle butts, trooper batons, crowd controlled lockstep, national security on the cheap for soccer moms, NRA dads, and Obama believers. I've grown up in America, the good land of obedient subjects, religion and rope burn, principled bottom lines, Trump towers and Pentagon narratives, democracy's underbelly. We've grown up in America where black boys get planted in prison cells before double-digit birthdays and machines moving earth plant foundations for wealthy benefactors of death behind bars. I've grown up in America, land of bullets and all but equal, where justice in the court of cognac suppers prosecutes poor, blind, unmoneyed minions wanting only punishment.
All right. What was that? Chanel.
Hello. You're gonna hear me eat, sorry. I didn't think I was gonna be able to make it because I was working, so. This first one I did in the showcase a couple months ago. It's called "To the Girl Sobbing During the Last 15 Minutes of the Avengers Movie." I hope you never lose your compassion. I hope your ability to empathize exceeds the cruel harshness of your upcoming teen years. And when the world feels heavy against your bleeding heart, I hope it becomes the catalyst between justice and your delicate voice. Because there's nothing more beautiful than the ability to transport our hearts to places beyond our own realities, right? Be it books or movies or stories or poetry or commercials or the 5 o'clock news that wants to grab our heartstrings and knot them into bracelets we wear around our wrists to cut off the circulation of what to feel. None. There's nothing more beautiful than letting your levees break in a room full of strangers who are trying not to let their emotions get the best of them. I know this because I'm one of them. I know this because too often I found myself gritting my teeth or turning the other cheek, trying to swallow the feeling to make room for a smile. Too often I feel hopeless in a world where the oceans are overflowing with so much plastic it's becoming superficial, where the corruption has stacked so high they forget about decency and claim it's merely political. The glaciers are crying out in pain, and sometimes I relate. Sometimes I wish to avenge each and every crime against humanity, and honestly, dear girl, you inspire me. I want you to know you're braver than superheroes on screen, because once we learn the art of empathy, we free ourselves from mental slavery, saving the world with just a bit of compassion. This is called A Pretty Disguise. I wish my writings were pretty. Pretty in the way you saw me in lighting that didn't highlight the imperfections of my self-consciousness. Makeup quivering at the thought of being caught as an imposter. Pretty in the way sugarcoating glosses over the eyes of the naive, and in the way birthday cakes flicker in wishful flames. I wish my writings were pretty so that readers would take pictures of the pages and post them to their social media with heart emojis and hashtags saying beautiful. So when I'm long gone in a grave like those old stones in Lindenwood Cemetery with the weathered words that I can no longer read, and the years that no longer matter, they will think my life was a bed of roses, and my generations will read their kids my stories and kiss them sweetly goodnight. I wish my writings were pretty, like inspirational quotes and those little clever sayings on the side of my kombucha bottle and on the labels of my yogi tea. Promises for wisdom in my daily consumption. Swallowing heavier than an audience that thinks pretty is a word I ever truly cared for. I wish my writings were pretty in the way filters make me feel in the days when my skin is so damaged I want to cry away the redness with Visine and 10 types of medication based only on hunches. The way nightcaps make me feel when I can no longer throw any more punches. And when social anxiety cost me 5,000 opportunities, 63 sick days, 2 no-call no-shows, 22 pounds of foundation, 434 outfit changes, 15 dates, and a backlash that welts the ego like a bad reputation, I wished my writings were simply pretty. Pretty in the way you read me when I'm not able to say anything at all. This is called To the Woman with Hair. You once told me that deep breathing could somehow dislodge self-doubt from my throat and into the arms of your floral patterned chair. But what I didn't want to admit was that my body was filled with anchors and prison bars and haunted houses on concrete slabs, with faded lawn sculptures holding up signs that said wrong turn. Scattered furniture where pleasant memories may have been. You seemed to think that trauma would somehow be sped up into the tumbleweed that was my voice, but those days, breathing deep caused my silence to take notes on so many napkins the waitress started charging me. Those days, my silence took cheap shots on so many insecurities I had a hard time training the mirror to be kind. But I tried. Those days, I compared the rise and fall of my chest to the complex weather patterns between night and day, between go or stay, between all the times I held silence to the flame. I once kept a secret for 26 years, and this therapist, this woman, with eyes as sweet as Southern hospitality, had the audacity to mention breath is a weapon. And maybe I misunderstood what you meant. Maybe you were referring to my lungs, not my pen, but it just so happens that everyone claims to be bad with names. But perhaps we're just bad with connections. Perhaps we're just bad about consuming without ever reading the label. And I know I never returned, but I promise I remember your face. That's difficult, right? Remembering faces but not names, feeling but not the actual words. And I guess what I really want to tell you is that day was the day I found my voice. That day was the day I found comfort in feeling exposed for the right reasons, and the first day that I truly stuck up for myself. I want to tell you that these days when I stop to take deep breaths, I think of you. I think about how my exhales are no longer heavy with debris. They're as weightless as this heart waving from sleeves. My voice now takes solace in its wings.
Thank you. I think everybody had read. I'll probably do one or two more, and then if everyone else wants to maybe start again, that'd be great. If you have any more to read, that is. Okay. If not, that's cool too. Invisible to the world, but smothered in compliments, unable to let them attach. Reality controlled by false truths. This is not real. Takes time to heal. Feeling unreal, feels so real. I've checked my phone 1,000 times for an LOL or some other sign. Sighs pass fast like cars through lights. Erase the day with this shot tonight. I hear you say I'll be okay. Live those visions, I hope and pray. Confirmed by lazy musing play. Denied by hazy views informed in clay. Light a cigarette, take a shot, focus on the line I'm about to jot. It all returns from a prior thought. The love I lost is not forgot. The time and stone I carved for you, you had more important things to do. The time then came you wanted me, I denied the dream that was meant to be. So I'll find content in this holy wall, not much farther I can fall. As gay bars drop a deadly beat, can't find the strength to move my feet. But every song it seems to fit, even if it is some disco shit. An ironic twist begins to skip as the DJ screams and the faders split. Don't let the shells take the roof off the ocean. Don't let the twine put your neck into motion. Don't let the signs promote your devotion. In a stainless box of polished steel lives a boy who craves a mother's meal. I make a dance in a starry field with a tree branch sword and a moon shield. Making giants fall who once stood strong, and mice so meek who now belong. Where crickets craft a solemn song, it takes the night and makes it long. Let the rain wash deep the ash of a father's bones concealed in grass. Slowly sow the seeds that passed into a soul the earth has masked. As you wash the tears from this proverb stone and calm the nerves within my bone, as pain speaks through my mournful moan, fed by this strength I'm not alone. My wish to stay will turn to peace. I'll watch you dance beneath the trees, leading ants to move like streams and slaying beasts once fought in dreams. I'll do one more here. This one I thought was kind of silly. Most of them are really sad, it seems like, especially hearing them out loud. This milk it states on the 8th day it's late, but 20 days into April it still tastes great. Tempting fate processed in pasteurized whey. It's hard to say if my stomach will contain or complain in pain the following day. A risk I'll take though they'll regret I may. Feeling lucky, these charmed clovers I slay, magically digested will hope and pray. But I'll gather the hearts, in a bag I'll save them, to grind into dusty pinkish powder. For a rainy day when I'm feeling sour, cut a line and snort the power. That was inspired by Lucky Charms. Thank you. Emma, you want to do some more? Does anyone want to do some more? All right, come on up. This is Robin, everybody. Thank you.
Okay. This one's called Dear Mr. President. Dear Mr. President, I stood 2 hours in the hot sun protesting. My friends and I, we wanted something different. We believe in loving our neighbor, clean energy, and not a new wall. When we have to stop holding up signs, when we see that our government will stop being blind to us, to our voices. What does it take to provide clean water to the city in Michigan and not to support our friends and neighbors? Our crops are spoiling because there's no one to pick them. What does it take to help us stop holding up signs when our government stop being blind to us, to our voices? How dare you let kids be locked up? Do you invite an eye to families being homeless, families being separated? You teach us that climate change isn't real, that other fields are safe, that our government doesn't steal, that our pipeline will save us, that our pipeline will benefit us. Instead, it will destroy the very wildlife, our very resources, the very parks, and there will be no secret ground for generations to come. Remember, we stop putting up signs. Remember, what voices we heard. We are not going to stop being blind. When Planned Parenthood people thought they were right, but they were wrong. Thousands of women lost their health care, safe and affordable as it was supposed to be. Oh, but of course not, because of you. I am fed up. I don't be silenced. I'll hold my sign. You still stay a TV star. I love my country, but I'm tired of violence. I'm tired of your lies. I may be young. You might say that my voices should be shut up, but I'm not shut down. I'm not shut up. And I know that I'm not the only one who's tired of it all. All right, I'll be a funny one since most of my we're kind of sad. This is called Hey Old Guy, and it's about being a waitress in a old folks home. Hey old guy, I sip you coffee and a sweet bowl every day. I listen to you reminisce about the old wars, about old days past, the Korean War, Vietnam, and jokes about your folklore. Hey old guy, you claim to be important, all puffed up. Stop looking at me as if I'm a prize. I wish you were a ladies' man. Stop looking at me. Stop looking at I can. Hey old guy, you call me a man. Stop ordering for your wife. Let her speak her mind. This is not 1959. Hey old guy, you own your Uber floats. Tell me how they used to ride a motorcycle, going fast and race. You asked me if I want to join you. You asked me if I would ride anywhere to your place. I smile and I wish to hop off the fence. Hey, old guy. You order your full special, your 3 omelets with very little bacon, peppers, mushrooms, vegetables, and onions, and lots of cheese. And I sit there and I stand again and I wonder if I need a breeze. Hey, fine lady, you act like a queen. You treat me as if I'm your servant. Your flaws and your font, you're always expecting if I can go take your sweet orders. You order cookies and crumbs and pies, and you wonder how I can actually see your stomach is bigger than your eyes. Hey, fine lady, you always insist that you don't eggs be ever well done, right? You even told the cook that you wanted the eggs stirred a certain way, and you had to tell them how it's done with a note, rather than trust your own waitress. This job is not the best, but I enjoy it sometimes. And sometimes I want to bang my head against the wall. I learned plenty though about myself, about how to treat people better. Still, I hear them cry, give me a drink. And I respond, hey old guy, you stink. Thank you.
I didn't catch your name. Victor, you want to come up and do some reading? All right, yeah, I know you just walked in, but we've been around a couple times here. Yeah, come on up.
Hello. I sure did not expect to just jump right up. Let's see. I always like to come to open mics because, especially when I'm not trying to like run one, I like to try out things that I haven't really messed with. So this particular piece that I'm gonna do, and I hope I remember it because it's fairly new. It's called Therapin Session. I just heard something that I liked, and I always get inspired by things that, I always get inspired by talent or hearing others speak or spit on the mic. So I heard a song that I really liked, and I was just like, okay, and I was in the mood to write, but I had no idea which direction to go, and this is exactly where it took me. Therapin Sessions. Writing, not knowing what direction to take. Make expectations great or grind it up and erect in your mate. I scrape the plate like a hungry child, craving food for the soul, watching how we all are foods for the goal. I lose control of my mind, trying to suppress what I put in a rhyme. And rewind is not an option, plot moving through time. Or to climb from the depths of past, present, and future fates, using distractions just to escape. I often wonder how many relate to having control of outward emotion, keeping cool and drama, making them ask if I'm just coasting through life, showing both growth and lack thereof, running from and at the same time running back to love, connections made and lost had me weary or lost. Connections made and lost had me weary or lost, turning my ears to something else like my hearing was lost. Eyes now blurry, not from tears, just focusing less. Knowing this flushed his eyes, what I turn to, noticing stress. I confess to the paper, telling myself so many situations are passed around on my fingers' creations. I speak in code, yet blunt like a swisher when opened up. Spill my guts on the paper as light sprinkles trapped and rose up. On expressing my issues to those I trust. That's used to me not complaining. They say it's too much, so I keep shut from the world for better and worse. I receive relief, releasing it in a letter of verse. Once tethered to it, I sever the hurt. Each line is a razor, slicing a path to bypass the devil's flirt. Once tethered to it, I sever the hurt. Each line is a razor, slicing a path to bypass the devil's flirt. Therapin Sessions.
That'd be perfect.
I read that last. I've never actually read this one out loud before, so. To the cocktail waitress who told me I needed to put meat on my bones because I was cold. I wanted to warn you about how skeletons sometimes break through my skin to scare the fools that thought calling me anorexic in middle school was somehow just as appropriate as your thoughtless comment. As if putting meat on my bones was as simple as injecting my flesh with a flavor that sets better in your eyes. I wanted to tell you about all the times I felt embarrassed to wear a pair of shorts or a crop top that might bear the protrusion of a rib, a hollow crevice for your careless lips. How putting meat on my bones wouldn't fuel the hunger of strangers who seem to think comments about physical appearances are any of their damn business. I wanted to tell you, it's not the lack of meat that has me cold, it's the society where the size of our bodies are talking points instead of what's inside. I'm cold because my skin has shed itself so many times, it's raw to the touch. Tattooed with the thought that maybe, just maybe, a stranger's comments wouldn't follow me home today. I mean, it's getting better, but sometimes the past likes to sneak up on us when the streetlights get a little dim, when the triggers get a little thin. So no, dear stranger, I don't need meat on my bones. I'm cold, but not cold enough to leave an unnecessary tip. Thank you.
I want to thank y'all for coming out. Wish I had some more people here. And the audience here. Have any more people? Yeah. Okay. Just a quick second. I think I have something.
All right, let's see. One time I was hanging out on the computer and I shot out a message to my friends. I was just like, shoot me topics. I was just, feeling one of those inspired days. And one of my friends, so I hope I read this right because it's been a minute. One of my friends sent me a topic to cover called Rediscover. She had just gotten out of a relationship that was not beneficial to her. And one of the things that she had struggled through was rediscovering herself. And I know male and female, we all fight with that. Whenever we have a relationship that ends and then we're trying to, get back, get back on the proverbial horse again. So this is called Rediscover. And it's called the rediscovery of oneself. Thinking all we had to offer were materials we placed on our shelf, but our wealth is so much more than we can imagine, more than a fashion, more than what someone else thought before they lost our passion. Lasting hurt from what began as a passing flirt, turning into the dirt we wish we could sweep under the rug, tugging heartstrings as we pick ourselves out of the mud, facing a flood of rushing blood through our veins, trying not to show the strains of what lies underneath the brain, reteaching the need to love ourselves more than one we lost could ever begin to delve. Just because things didn't work out doesn't diminish our place in life, and someone else's opinion shouldn't have a place in our flight. though it may take more than a night or two. Know how much God loves and apply it to you. We discover.
I'm kind of digging back here just to find something to read. I don't want to feel like I'm hogging the stage, so if this inspires anyone else to read, that'd be great. Pop of color. White is the snow that's never seen beat. Black is the pain, darkness, and grief. Red is the color that most of us see in a sea of roses full of mystery. Orange, with no rhyme, reason, or belief, shines from the sun warming the trees. Yellow, so mellow to a fellow with bees. Green is the envy that weakens the knees. Blue as the soul that cries from disease, paying a penance, praying for needs. Colors adorning, pouring and warning, purple is the color that's inside of me. This one looks really long on my phone, but hopefully it doesn't. Called Now on Display. It's been years since I looked in the mirror and studied real clear exactly who I seem to be. To practice a smile, a flirting wink, a manly pose, an eyebrow trick, visions of outside of vision, a catastrophic immensity. Better believe I can see it's a truth you also carelessly cover, a description of conformity given to your lover, for pain is more often felt than seen. Be it in front of this mirror or foretold in a dream, I can see it as in me as well as on me. It's become a mask, masterfully fastened and clasped with brass, bound in leather and soaked in gas, to burst into flames at this next drum break. Wow, what a show. He actually set himself on fire. I peel it off, or attempt, my fingertips bloody, blistered, and stripped, yet considered a passion, pathetic, a myth. Pissed off, this wish is only a wish, and this mask, form-fitting at last, will slip from my skin, the least I persist, insisting on a calmness now last on my list. For bliss, contented and dismissed, becomes lost and forgotten like your face on my breast. This sacrifice is my savior, saving me from failure, raging from the terror that's chasing out my soul. Behold, a freak of nature for all to see. Kids gather round. Only for a small fee can you get to witness this monstrosity and menacing victim of the superstar mentality. Gather round. Stepping from the mirror and shaking my head, be another year before I look again, to practice that smile or a flirting wink, that manly pose or that eyebrow trick. So for now, I'll huff this canned air, because you can get that shit anywhere. I'll crush this pill, this capsule, this cap, saw this straw. I saw a bum named Paw Gnaw. I saw a bum named Paw Gnaw, and his flask had the water I used to shoot the shit back. Clawing jaw attacking, eyes reside in automatic twitch. Maddening hallucinations make my acidic stomach sick. So for now, I'll sharpen this blade and ever so patiently engrave statements, though worthless, stating my stances. Though disfigured and overtaken with vertigo, well, there you go. Blame it on something, sure can't call it fear. Or you'll look back over me like I'm some kind of queer. In fact, let me take this sharpened point and stick it right here. Light this joint, wipe this tear, heat this tip and set it near. Duct tape my wrist so to reflex it's clear. These pills in the septum have taken the fear from a brain now numb and dumb. Yeah, that seems fair. A sizzling burn for a second or two. It'll only be an hour before I'm through. with my abstract, demoralized, insignificant view, a tribute to antagonists, the irrelevant few. Propaganda on a personal stage, on soapboxes I climb, spewing my rage. Wasting breath on uneducated slaves, Dylan behave. What's wrong with you, boy? Oh, Ma, I'm just snapping, sick of the bullshit theories that I've been crapping, been smearing and sneering, proud of my work, smirking and lurking for more to cover, overwork, to work over the perks to the insignificant little irks, to the malicious drug-induced intent that's wrapped up in anger, refuse to repent. Enough of this contemplated congenial respect, I'm done. Razor blades, rusty for days, rest perfectly between my thumb, pointer finger, and partially mutilated middle. No need to fiddle, it feels fine, normal, and right at home. Especially when it cuts, just missing the bone, especially when the ruts heal on their own. I doze as the blood loss weakens my soul, at last some rest, sleep is conceived. It's been a week or so, it's believed, since last peaceful dream state for me, where everything is real, though dramatically unseen. Control comes from control. Thank you. 94, so the dark days. Thank you. If anyone else would like to read, we still have plenty of time. Anyone? Anyone? I want to thank you all for coming again to the Muse on Main. This is our first poetry night, and I promise next time we will have heat. We may even do it out there in the gallery where it's a little more personal. Just to feel more comfortable, maybe. Tell your friends, come back again. I hope to see you all again. This was fun. Appreciate it. Feel free to check out the gallery if you need a beverage or anything. There's a concession stand up front. We have shows here Friday and Saturday night, live bands. There's 3 bands a night. It is all ages here. There's no alcohol served, so if you have youngins, teenagers, anyone under 21 that would like to see a show, this is the place to see it. Sunday, we also have arts and crafts with some vendors. There'll be some vendors here that do local art, candle makers, pottery, clothes, all kinds of stuff. Maybe we'll see you Sunday. No charge Sunday to come in. Y'all have a great night. Be safe. Stay warm. Love you. Thanks for coming.